Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Movie Chats with Ant and Rai. Today, we're going to talk about the 2024 movie, The Apprentice by Ali Abbasi, starring Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong, among others. Um, I really want to start by talking about Sebastian Stan. So,
How, because obviously second week in a row we're doing a Sebastian Stan movie.
yeah,
Um, we spoke last week about how, you know, he did such a good job with A Different Man. Why didn't he get nominated for that one instead? I can understand why he got nominated for this movie.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just wanted to bring a bit of context that when we finished the podcast, we chose the next movie and we talked a bit more about Sebastian Stan and how good he was in A Different Man. It's very different from what he has done before. Seems like a very good actor. Why wasn't he nominated? But he got nominated before another movie. Let's go on the Sebastian Stan marathon if you want to talk about that. And let's watch The Apprentice. And oh my God, it's
I th
it's
I,
almost creepy.
right, I thought I was watching Donald Trump. I
I
thought
know.
this was Donald Trump at times. Just the cadence of his voice, the way he holds himself. We've all seen how Donald Trump is very not articulate. Is he uses his hands a lot?
Yeah.
Just the way he moves his mouth when he's talking as well. You can see that
Yes.
just the lips, just a lip movement. It, he was Donald Trump in this movie.
He got everything. The mannerism, the tone of the voice, the cadence of the voice, the even the gait, the way he was holding himself, standing, walking. It was very creepy to watch him and say, "My God, it is Donald Trump. It's a version of Donald Trump."
Yeah. And it was an interesting because I've just to see the early life of him as well. So
Yeah,
how much truth there is into what what was he really like? It was almost he did seem almost innocent and almost empathetic at the beginning, and then he's met Roy
yeah.
Cohen, and it's Roy Cohen who's just this morally bankrupt person who's just no, this is how you become a winner. You're not going to become a loser. Yeah, this he's the one that turned Donald Trump into Donald Trump.
Yeah, and it's like it's the student uh beat the master at the end. He surpasses the master at the end because he's way worse than Roy Khan. If anything, I had a lot of empathy towards the end for Roy Khan, where
Yeah.
he was definitely morally bankrupt at the beginning and just absolutely didn't care about who he was hurting, who he was blackmailing, and moving through life like this. But towards the end, when he's very sick and when the only person he thought was a friend really betrays him and show him the same thing, I did feel sorry for him.
Yeah. Apparently that was Hollywoodized, so that was obviously a
Right.
fictionalized version of what happened. They actually, I think it was actually due to his illness is the reason why they
Mm.
kind of did fall out. But he did apparently give him the fake cufflinks. That's apparently a true story that he really did give him, knockoff cufflinks. So
Yeah.
that, yeah,
It was very hard to as we were watching the movie, because I watched it with my wife, I think up to when we were halfway through the movie, she and I were wondering, is this movie true? Like, what is Donald Trump actually thinking of the movie? Does he approve of the movie? Did he have a say into it? And then he does the second part where he's like such a horrible human being. It's like, well, no, definitely he didn't approve of this movie. I was reading apparently he threatened to sue as well.
yeah, I'd
Because of
imagine
it.
he would have, yeah. Um, Yeah, just well, let's talk about Jeremy Strong. We've spoken about
Mm.
how good Sebastian Stan was. Jeremy Strong equally is just brilliant.
Yeah,
Cause I had no idea who this person was, but I've gone back and watched old footage of him. He's like, he was actually, you watch some of these some old American 60 Minutes, and
yeah,
he does seem like a very nasty piece of work. Even the head bobbing, I noticed Jeremy Strong was doing that a lot, where he bobs his head. That was something that was just a little idiosyncrasy that the Roy Cohen had. Um, yeah, he just seems like it was a yeah, just a very not a very nice person. I think the 180 at the end of his life where he became a little bit more empathetic and a little bit more human wasn't true either. I think he stayed pretty nasty towards the end. I'm hypothesizing, but I from what I've seen that he never kind of became nice. He was always just
yeah,
a really nasty person. So
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
he's
but
never necessarily really nice either. At the end of the movie, it's just sad. Like, when you
yeah,
see someone that is at the end of his life and you see that he's really suffering from the illness as well.
yeah,
But yeah, but it was very good. I think he doesn't necessarily in leave so much as an impact as Sebastian Stan because not everybody knows who Roy Khan is, and you need to go as you did look for old footage. Was he really like that? And then you understand, yes, he was, and it's also a magnificent performance. Yes,
yeah. And it's really interesting to find out that this gentleman actually did exist, and that is how Donald Trump became Donald Trump. So
yeah,
that was actually because I had no idea. I didn't know that this person existed until I watched the movie.
yeah, yeah, and the same. And how much of that is same romanticized and really made it a bit more of a story and what really happened in real life is debatable because there are lots of wink wink moments about that he's going to run for president eventually, even if it's not going to be like before 20 years later or more than
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I noticed
Yeah,
there was a couple of talks about yeah politics and that. I like the fact that they did bring up the fact that he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, because
yeah,
he's very famously said that in the past. I actually loved the relationship between him and his brother. That was probably the I found was the only character that, and I think that the only person that the real Donald Trump has ever really truly loved is his brother,
yeah,
Fred Jr. There was a real strong connection between those two where he wants to protect him, and then obviously that he sadly passed away at a quite a early age. So that was, I thought that was well done. That was quite nice. Their
yeah,
relationship.
yeah. That was the. What did you think when his brother shows up at their apartment and he sort of turns him away and tell him, "Here, I will put you in a hotel. Don't want to stay here. Don't want to stay, even though we have a spare room. Don't want you to see Donald Jr." I felt, uh, I don't know, I don't know how I feel about it, but yeah, I thought out of character or why is he doing that? Not sure.
Yeah, it was probably just I don't think it was an actual event. It was probably just written for the film. Did it add
Yeah,
anything to it? You probably could have not had that and then him get the phone call that he's passed away and it had the same kind of effect because we've already seen how much he loves him and he wants to protect him.
yeah,
That just I think it was just an extra scene to have the brother in there.
yeah, yeah, potentially.
That's what I took away from that.
Hmm.
Uh, then obviously there's the relationship between Fred Senior, so he was obviously just a nasty piece of work as well. That was a and he was with both Don and Fred Jr. That was all those relationships were intertwined with one another, mostly between Donald and like his dad, his brother, Ivanka, Roy, all those
Yeah,
kind of all those kind of relationships that he had.
yeah, no, it was very good. Um, it was very good with all the characters that revolve
Yeah.
around him and how he interacts with them.
Yeah.
and how everything's about appearances, especially with Ivana. Uh, that was that was hard to watch actually towards the end when there is the
Oh, that scene.
brutal scene, and then the next one she sticks with him and she gets out of the car and then she smiles for the photographs. It's like, oof, that hurts.
Yeah, definitely. Um, should we talk about some of the camera work? Because obviously it's set in the 70s and 80s. Even the camera feel has got a very vintage kind of look and feel towards it. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I noticed that, and even the transition. There are some footages of New York, and I think they feel like real footages, not something that they shot for the movie, but something that they took out from the timepiece where it was set. And it had this very grainy, yeah, old film look, which I kind of like. I mean, they didn't
Yeah.
shove the 80s in your face. It just happened that this is when it was set, and I like when movie do that.
Yeah, I actually had to do a bit of a like when there's obviously the different historic elements that are happening. Nixon's coming out of power,
Yeah,
then Reagan's going into power. Those kind of you see those kind of television things, or when he's opening different hotels and stuff like that. So I've had actually,
yeah,
when did he do this? Oh, he did that in 1977. Oh, he did that in 1981. So just so I could kind of get a sense of how much time has elapsed between each kind of fade in to fade out. So if I could make a comment of how it could have been done a little bit better, maybe just put a little year come up on the screen just so we know, oh, it's
yeah,
1981. That's look, if I'm, and that's just I'm nitpicking at the finest little thing that I
yeah,
could
yeah,
remove.
yeah,
It's probably the only thing that I really thought it could have done a little bit better.
yeah, yeah. I see what you mean. I like that it makes it a bit timeless as well. Um,
True.
but we're watching something that is more biographical, so I
Yeah,
understand. Yeah, maybe put the year.
yeah, yeah. If it was a movie where it wasn't true events, it probably would have been a bit of a. I've watched movies where they do that, and it's like, well,
Mm,
what year are we in now? I don't know
yeah,
what's going on. So and it just that bothered me. But yeah, not too bad in this case.
yeah.
Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to bring up on this one?
Like I really like to talk about just Donald Trump in itself and
Yep.
just the Trump brand, especially coming from someone who is in marketing. I think Donald Trump is the king of brand marketing. And the three rules that he has about never admitting defeat and turn everything into a win and not caring, this is what he does. And this is what a brand does. And this is why every product and every piece of real estate that he has built or launched, he slapped his name on it because this is what people are falling for. This is a brand that he worked very, very hard to associate with success when it's not necessarily the truth because the guy has filed for bankruptcies several times. He was born in a wealthy family, so he's definitely not rags to riches. Um, but yeah, you have people that they still fall for that to the point that he's the president of the United States, second
Twice,
time. Yeah,
right?
and it's the same as it just shows the power of marketing. The same with Apple, for example, if you want like a comparison. So if you're really looking specs between like a Mac and a PC, is that really going to be very different if you're just looking at that? No, not really, or maybe marginally. But the price difference, there is something in there for equal capacity machines. But still, some people will go with a Mac. Why? Because Apple is a great brand. And because it's a great brand, they do manage to sell stuff at a higher price than PC is able to do. And this is the same with Donald Trump. And for that, I admire it. It is scary, but I admire it because he's a textbook narcissist as well, in the way that
Oh,
how
yep.
he's gaslighting everybody around him.
Oh, 100%. Look, he's successful. You can't put it down there. If you can name some of the most successful people on the planet, he'd be right up in the top few. He's been the president twice. He's worth a few $1 billion. He's, you know, he's you love him or hate him, the guy's successful.
Yeah, well, it's easy when you turn everything into a success.
That's
even if
it.
even if you fail, you turn everything into success. Rule number
Well,
three.
admit nothing, deny everything.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, it was good.
Indeed. All right, should we get into our scores?
Let's do it. I'll let you start.
Uh, I'm I'm torn. It's either it's a strong four. It might even be a 4.5 out of five. I'm
Okay,
it's yeah. I'm thinking 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
cool. Yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5. Um, really enjoyed it. It's the biography of Donald Trump that I didn't know we needed. But it turns out to be such a good movie because he gets so
Yeah,
much airtime with all the things that he's pulling off, like, that don't make sense when you see them on the news. And you really think, well, this movie, does he really need more airtime? Do we really need to see that guy more? But it's actually such a good movie and it gives a bit of insight as to where he's coming from and how he grew up. And just for the performances, it's worth watching. So yeah,
yeah,
strong 4 out of 5.
yeah. It's neither a pro-Trump film or a against Trump film. It's just a Trump film. It's just a movie about Trump. It doesn't. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree. I would say it's definitely, I mean, subtly ish. It doesn't depict him as such a great person. So I'm not sure that I would qualify it as, it's a bit biased. I mean, there are a few things that are alleged that they put in the movie that don't make him look good. And it could have gone the other way. I think if Trump had his say in it, everything would have been a lot more rosy and is like very, very successful and awesome man. And every time that people disagreed with him, they just wronged him. They don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, they were trying to be a bit more nuanced, but still, they made him come across as a pretty nasty piece of work. So not sure.
there you go. All right. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. Please let us know how you felt about this film. Did you agree with us? Did you disagree with us? Please always give us a bit of a comment on that one. Any likes, follows, shares are greatly appreciated. And until next time,
Till next
that was
time.
us.
See ya.
Right. See you, mate. Bye.